On this toy spot, we're going to be having a look at DC Universe Gorilla Grodd Wave 2. This is figure 1, and it is Firestorm. Firestorm. Now, before we actually get the figure out of the package, we'll look at the package itself. Package is a starburst orange background, and then we've got the character up front. Normally the figures actually stand out rather well to the backdrop that's behind them. I think in Firestorm's case, however, he tends to kind of blend in with the background. Probably would have been nice to do a different color, but they wanted to keep consistent, I think, with the rest of the wave, so it would have made no sense to do a different color for Firestorm. Firestorm down below, there's a little picture of his eyes. I don't know why. Comes with the right leg of Gorilla Grodd. And the back of the packaging, the other figures in this wave are Aquaman, Harley Quinn, the Superman, both the blue and the red, and Black Manta, and then of course Firestorm. As you can see, on the package here, the Firestorm that they featured on the back of the packaging was the Jason Rusk version from 2004. Yeah, I think it was July 2004. I believe at the time that this wave was released, this figure was the expected figure to be released as the regular figure, and the more traditional classic Firestorm was the variant. What ended up happening though is that this Firestorm, the more classic Firestorm, was released in the set, and the 2004 updated Firestorm was not released at all in this set. And I actually ended up going back, and they released this guy later on. It was almost, it might have been maybe half a year later that they released this particular figure. I picked him up too, so I'll do a review of him. But in the meantime, we'll do a review of this Firestorm. Quick biography: high school student Ronnie Raymond and physicist Martin Stein found themselves bonded at the atomic level when a terrorist bomb blew up in Stein's lab. Able to rearrange matter at the molecular level, Raymond and Stein's united alter ego Firestorm battled injustice. While Ronnie was the physical body, Stein provided sage counsel and scientific advice as a dismembered body. Interesting. Statistics: first appearance Firestorm number 1, first series, March 1978. Real name Ronnie Raymond. Occupation superhero. Base of operations JLA Watchtower on the Moon. Special abilities: Firestorm is able to fly and fire atomic blasts capable of rearranging inorganic matter at a molecular level. So there's the read-up on Firestorm. What we're going to do is we're going to get this guy opened up, and we will get a closer look at the figure. Don't go anywhere, guys. Stay tuned. Alright, we have Firestorm out of his package. Let's do a quick checklist of the remaining pieces to Gorilla Grodd. So Firestorm does come with the right leg. And for those following my videos, you'll notice that Gorilla Grodd has been absent a right leg. He is absent no longer because now we have the right leg from Firestorm. And in short time, there we go, in short time, we now have a completed Gorilla Grodd. And I will not review this guy right now. I'll actually review him as a separate video. So stay tuned for a completed Gorilla Grodd. And then in the meantime, though, let's have a look at Firestorm. A fantastic Firestorm, and actually a little tidbit of information. Growing up in the 80s, we had something called Superpowers figures. And I mean, they were very basic in design. I mean, certainly compared to nowadays, the toys were very basic. However, though, the very first superpower figure I ever received was Firestorm here. I received, I believe, Firestorm and a red tornado from my grandparents for Christmas. So Firestorm actually has a soft spot in the spot's heart, just because of I remember having the Superpowers Firestorm. And for the life of me, I can't remember what his ability was. It was either a kicking leg. He either kicked his leg. Actually, I think he might have. I think his fist moved or something like that. But a great figure. And for those, I think many of us growing up in the 80s, probably their earliest memory of Firestorm was from the Superpowers figure line. So this was a perfect addition for at least this reviewer's collection. I was very much looking forward to getting this particular figure. I think the figure does look really nice. It does look really nice indeed. There is slight problems with the paint, I find, with this character. As you can see, I think the camera's going to get it. The head is a darker red, but the neck is a lighter, almost more vibrant red. There's slight differences too, where the thighs are different colors from what the knees are, and then the shins match the thigh. So it's a bit of a modge podge of coloring. There is some darker yellow in the thigh versus the side, which is just a straight yellow. Very overlooked problems though. I mean, it's not really anything that bothers me too much. I like the sculpt on the head. I was gonna say hair on the head. They did a nice job with the fire. It's like a translucent plastic. It's very nice though. Now his accessories, he includes two molecular, what do you want to call it, molecular blasts or molecular spheres, I guess. You can just actually snap them. There's a little opening on the side here, and you can just snap them onto his wrists like that, and you can have him wielding his molecular blasts, or there we go, like so. I think for posing this guy on a shelf, I probably will have these on him. I think that looks pretty decent on him. We'll just remove him now, just so I can do articulation on the character. His articulation is the same as every other Superpowers. He has an articulated head, a ball-jointed head. He has a ball-jointed shoulder, a swivel bicep. You can bend at the elbow, rotate at the fist. You can bend the mid-torso. You can rotate the waist, although this waist doesn't look like it really wants to move very much at all. I don't want to force it just in case I break it. You can bend the leg out, front to back. You can bend at the thigh, rotate the thigh, bend at the knee, and bend at the foot. One thing I have to actually give points for too is the fact that for the most part, aside from the waist down, the sculpt is completely different on this Firestorm. The torso is different, the sleeves are completely different, the hands, and of course the head. So it's not necessarily a direct mold of an existing universe figure. So I actually have to give an applause to them for actually doing something different. Because really, I don't think you couldn't have done this without a remolded torso, because Firestorm's chest is a little bit different anyways. But overall, a pretty decent figure. His paint is a little questionable, but it's not something I'm gonna lose sleep over. I probably would give this figure about a 7. And again, coming from an 80s kid, very much looking forward to having this figure, I think, more than the modern Firestorm. But I will actually do the review of the Firestorm from the 2004 series as well, just so you guys can get a comparison. But that concludes this spot on the DC Universe Wave 2, and that was the very classic Firestorm. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Later.